Hello guys, I'm back with the mask on in location. Oh, sorry about him. And this is my review for Jurassic World Dominion. Now, I might do a ranking video of the Jurassic Park films. I watched them all leading up to this. And I have always loved the original Jurassic Park. It's always been one of my favorite movies of all time. I love rewatching that movie. It's just classic, pure tension with brilliant concept. The Lost World, directed by Spielberg, I think is highly underrated and a great film. Jurassic Park 3 is watchable, but it's not very entertaining for me anymore. It's just kind of there. Jurassic World I actually really like. I liked what Trevor did to bring the universe back, and I liked seeing the park fully open. Fallen Kingdom was not quite as good. It was a little disappointing, but I still enjoyed that film, and I still thought that movie was enjoyable. And that being, I still thought that movie had some of the interesting themes that the franchise always explored, and that was actually the first movie I ever reviewed on this channel, so I have a little soft spot for it for some reason. And then Jurassic World Dominion comes out, and I was very looking forward to it as a big Jurassic Park fan, and I have not been this disappointed in a film in a long time. And Jurassic World Dominion, I don't know if it was because the experience just wasn't right, or there were things wrong with the screen that I'll discuss in a minute when I was at the cinema that frustrated me, but this movie left me just extremely unsatisfied. They didn't use the concept that this movie was at all. And basically the idea of, if you spoil this for the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, all the dinosaurs are released into the real world. And that would be extremely exciting to see, wouldn't it? Unfortunately, that is pretty much done as a newsreel in this film, the opening scene, and that is all it's explored. The rest of the movie takes place in this facility with dinosaurs being kept in there, and we never get to see them in the real world, and that's not even part of the concept of the film at all. It's not even implemented into the story much. And that was the biggest disappointment of this film to me, because you had this incredible concept, this incredible idea, and you didn't even use it. You didn't even make a movie about it. Colin Trevorrow said that this is the movie we wanted to make all along. Fallen Kingdom was a placeholder so we could have all the dinosaurs in the world interacting with humans, and they never really explored it at all. The story mainly tries to be an action movie with dinosaurs there, trying to save this clone girl. The story never actually needs to involve dinosaurs whatsoever. You could take them out of the movie and the narrative wouldn't really change, which is what's kind of frustrating about it. As an action movie with dinosaurs in, yes, it's very entertaining and has some brilliant action moments. There was one with some T-Rexes in Malta that I loved. That scene was riveting and extremely well done. And there's action scenes towards the end where all of our cast come together that I really enjoyed. And let's talk about the cast. And I really love seeing Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Laura Dern back in their roles, and I really enjoyed their characters here. Jeff Goldblum doesn't have quite as much as I expected, but his humor is still there. Sam Neill and Laura Dern get a lot more to do, and I really enjoyed their characters. I enjoyed their chemistry on screen, and I liked when all of the characters came together at the end. It was really cool, and I liked what it did with that characters. I was satisfied in that department. There was a lot of nice little nods to the other films that just worked to continue, and there were a lot of good stuff there. Unfortunately, the story just never was interesting to me. And at the beginning, it was so boring and so slow. I was kind of thinking, what is this movie even about? When are we going to get to the interesting stuff? And the movie never really gave us any interesting stuff, which is what was kind of disappointing. It's kind of well directed. I mean, it looks good. The CG is magnificent, and I loved the use of more practical effects. That really surprised me, and I really enjoyed that. The score is fine. Not enough uses of John Williams' classic pieces, though, and there wasn't really any memorable sequences besides that one in Malta that was really exciting. The movie was just kind of dull for a lot of the time and relatively uninteresting. The one scene that would have been amazing is the scene they cut from the film, which is the prologue. It's on YouTube, the first 5 minutes of the movie, which sets up nicely for future things. It would have been a really creative and cool opening, and they just kind of removed it for no reason. That would have been the best scene of the film if they kept that in, and it's such a shame it's not there, because the movie opens very abruptly and very boringly, but if it had that at the beginning, it would have been fine. Instead, we get this recap of the last movie that we didn't need, and it doesn't necessarily do anything with our characters either. There's no growth, no development. Our characters don't change from the beginning of this movie to the end of it. Even Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters, well, their performances are good and they do the most with what is there. They haven't changed since the first Jurassic World. They're the same. They haven't had any development, any growth. You could say maybe Claire has a little bit. She's by far the most interesting of the new characters to me, but the other ones are all boring. What I actually liked most about this film was what I disliked most about the previous movie, which is Maisie. I thought they did a lot of good stuff with that character, and the human clone aspect of it was interesting actually, because it wasn't doing anything with the dinosaur plot. So this was actually quite interesting, and I liked what they did there, even though it made no sense. I was just kind of accepting it at that point. I mean, you got dinosaurs back to life. Why not create a human clone? I don't freaking know. I'm more mixed on it now than I was when I walked out the cinema. I was very negative when I walked out, and mainly because of the cinema quality. I'd like to talk about this because it's pretty funny. And this has happened twice now at the cinema I've been to. But the screen forgot to turn the lights off for half the film. It was bright and they were shining on the screen. The dark scenes, there was a dark scene at the beginning of the film. You couldn't even see it. It was appalling. And I don't know what, were the projectionists asleep? I don't know. It's happened twice now. It happened when I went to go watch The Kingsman. It's happened when I went to go watch this. And it was a shame because I was really looking forward to this movie. And the start of it, I was like, this is kind of dull, but I didn't know if I wasn't liking it because of the screen problem or I wasn't liking it because the movie was boring. And I'd like to watch it again just to see how I feel about it. But overall, I'm very disappointed with this film. I thought the story was just extremely basic for something that could have had a really interesting concept. The antagonists were awful. There were some terrible ideas that just they're ideas that just don't need to be in a Jurassic movie. And the things that I think most people go to this movie to want to watch, we want to see the dinosaurs in the real world. That's what Fallen Kingdom set us up to see. It's what they wanted to do the whole time. And they didn't even do anything with that. There was like a few clips of dinosaurs in the real world, but we never actually got to see the ramifications of that. The thematic weight that the other ones had is not present in the slightest. While I enjoyed many scenes in this movie, I enjoyed the old cast. I enjoyed seeing a few nods to other things. A few of the action sequences are spectacular as expected, but this movie really disappointed me. I'm kind of glad Colin Trevorrow didn't do Star Wars 9 now because he just didn't do a very good job at ending this series. I mean, there's no sense of conclusion here. If this was just a random Jurassic Park movie or Jurassic World movie, like the middle in a series or something, I wouldn't mind because it's just fun dinosaur stuff. But the fact this is the big conclusion, something big was set up, and this movie does nothing with it, doesn't really feel like an ending. It just was very disappointing to me, and I came out so underwhelmed, even though there were moments I enjoyed. I kept just thinking, why is this what the movie is? Maybe I'll enjoy it more later when I know that the movie is this, when I know the movie is this story. I mean, it feels kind of like a basic action movie with dinosaurs involved, not necessarily the epic, you know, dinosaurs and humans collide movie that I like disaster movie that I thought it was going to be. And in a way, I do think the movie I thought was going to be better, but knowing that the film isn't that, I may like it more on rewatch. I think there are good moments, and it's worth seeing on the cinema. It is exciting to look at, but just from a narrative perspective, and it just doesn't work. It's too complicated. It's too convoluted, and doesn't really have a core thing that it's about. The first Jurassic Park movie works so well because it's so simple, and so does the other ones. This movie, on a visual scale, yeah, it's phenomenal, but what was going on wasn't interesting, and even though I liked the characters I was seeing on screen, it's a shame they did nothing with them. I'm disappointed with this movie. I'm hoping people enjoy it. I'm hoping I enjoy it on rewatch, but at the moment I am very underwhelmed and I don't really want to talk about it. I don't really want to sit and tell you I was underwhelmed, but I was. And I don't know what they were thinking. I don't think they went, "Oh, we've got this amazing idea that we set up in the last movie," and then just don't do anything. It's so dull. It's such a dull film, and so generic. It had no sense of urgency at all. And besides a couple action scenes and a couple character interactions, There weren't many things I fully liked about this movie and left underwhelmed. It's fine as an action movie, it works, it's solid, it's enjoyable, but as a conclusion to the Jurassic series, extremely disappointed. Overall, I'm going to give Jurassic World Dominion a C-. I'm also going to give this movie around a 4 out of 10. Guys, let me know what you thought in the comments down below of this movie. I hope you enjoyed it more than me. Anyway, you can check out my letterboxd down below. Loads more written reviews and lists and stuff for movies on there. And of course, thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Don't move. Bigger. Why do they always have to go bigger?